What is going on, you guys? My name is Rage and we are back today with another legendary review video here for the one and only Black Bolt, the Uniting the Kingdoms event starting in less than an hour, as you can see here. And it's unbelievable the amount of value Black Bolt can actually add to the game. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to review his roster kit in terms of what his skills are, in addition to showing you guys a little bit of footage here, as well as my personal thoughts in terms of where I believe he stands in the game right now. So with that being said, just a quick deep dive into his abilities here. You can see that I've actually T4'd all of his abilities right now. His basic attack, Royal Strike. Essentially, just know that it does a massive amount of damage. In addition to that, if the primary target has a slow, he's also actually able to flip 2 negative effects. So not everyone T4s this ability, but if you were to just maximize to level 6, you can see that he actually does apply a slow. And excuse me, if he has a slow, he flips the negative for 1. But you know, you don't necessarily need the T4 if you don't want to, but that 50% output damage is really nice. And as you can see here, that T4 gives him even more damage overall. Another ability to note here for Black Bolt is his special ability, Staggering Voice. Very formidable, one of the most powerful attacks in the game in the sense that it's raw damage. He applies that damage to the primary target. Unfortunately, it does not chain. However, keep in mind, this attack is unavoidable. So even if the character has a dodge, even if Black Bolt is blinded, he's still able to actually land his strike. So that's very nice if you want to just be able to waste that blind on Black Bolt and still get in some damage overall. Do note, however, it does not actually apply to the striker vulnerability. That will, however, miss. Last but not least, Sonic Scream ultimate ability here. Attacking essentially all targets for 500% damage. That's only if you T4'd. If not, it would be about 380. So this is one of the first T4s I would recommend because in terms of offensive output, it does actually provide the most raw damage overall and one of the highest attacking damage in the game. So definitely, Black Bolt brings in a huge offensive advantage to any team, especially to his Inhumans roster if you guys have all 5 characters. Last but not least, King of Adeline. For this passive, essentially any characters killed by Black Bolt cannot be revived. So I will say this, however, this is one ability in the game that no one can match right now. Therefore, it really does make Black Bolt one of the few characters that essentially has that future proof in the sense that he has a distinct advantage over other legendaries and other characters in the game. If you were to T4 this ability, you can see that he gains immense damage overall boost, in addition to actually applying a lot of damage to villain tech enemies, the most notable one being Ultron, right? And last but not least, also gaining an additional max health for both himself and the Inhuman allies. So this is really just good to boost his overall Inhuman roster. Keep in mind, however, too, if you guys weren't to T4 this, you still were able to clear the positive effects from his attack. So I mean, not a big deal. It's still a really good ability to level up, but T4 here, definitely in terms of what he brings to the table for the overall damage, very nice. And additionally, this is a really nice counter because you can see here even on the enemy summon, especially if it's a character such as Ultron summoning those characters, or even Ultron being revived by himself, he's going to actually apply disruption as well and clear positive. So it's really just good against any characters that are ideally summoned, and Black Bolt's going to be there to actually shut them down. What I do, however, recommend for the ISO 8 is actually the striker. To be honest, I don't think there's any better of an ISO 8. This is Black Bolt written all over it. On the primary target, he applies that vulnerability. In addition to that, he's also gaining raw offensive output. As you can see here, by leveling up to the level 5 I do have here, he gains that raw percentage damage, in addition to also gaining a 20% max health. So very crucial. It adds a lot of value to his overall kit in terms of increasing of offensive output. With that being said, I was actually hoping to show you guys a little bit of gameplay here, but for those that are curious, to unlock Black Bolt, you do actually need Asgardians at least the level 5 yellow star. And so you can see here that I've unlocked him quite a while ago, but just a heads up, Hela is farmable in the campaign. Thor is also obtainable via campaign as well as raids, and you can just go here and hit the find, and you can see that where he's available in the notes, 7-3. In addition, he's also available via raid credits in the supply store. Loki is also campaign farmable. Heimdall is arena. Last but not least, Sif is in the really heavy coveted war store. So very farmable friendly. All these characters are available. So definitely, if you guys haven't got a chance already, definitely start planning and start getting ready, just because the event is starting soon. And fortunately, it does last for a few days. So hopefully you guys are close enough to getting him. With that being said, what's a better test than just throwing our Black Bolt into Arena? So he is actually part of my Arena roster right now. I consistently sit in the Arena rank of usually 70 to 100 because I do want to capitalize on the reward. So what we can do here real quick is I'm just going to look for a lower team. I do see this Black Order team. They are lower than my roster, but I can show you guys how my team actually does fare against this Black Order as well, just because the Black Order is the meta right now. And generally, if you guys have a powerful Black Order, you can definitely work your way up in the Arena ranks to maximize those rewards and benefits. But showing you the gameplay here for Black Bolt, you can see how well he's utilized. And again, as previously mentioned, it's just really, really invaluable that the fact that if he kills any targets, they cannot be revived. And it's just nice when you're facing up against enemies that have Minerva, Anti-Venom with the symbiote roster. So Black Bolt can definitely shut them down. So I'll show you guys a little bit of a strategy here, and I will slow down Black Bolt's gameplay here just so that you can kind of see his animation in place here. But generally, when I'm facing up against a Black Order with this roster, I do like to actually take down the damage dealers. But if you get a chance to do so, Proxima Midnight and Corvus, those are the two I would recommend. So we can see here Black Bolt, a great example here. His basic actually does strip away those positive effects, so I'll slow it down here instead of the X3 so you can kind of see his animation. But essentially, yeah, so it's a very basic attack there with the basic, but he, as you can see from Call Obsidian, he was actually able to strip away his positive effects. And I just love his special and ultimate because it just does an immense amount of damage. So we'll go ahead, use Ebony Maw here to kind of take away their health a little bit, heal up our team. In addition to that, we're just going to want to take away their positive buffs. So this is why I like to bring on Emma Frost here, just to strip away their positives. And it's going to really open a door for Black Bolt to really deal his damage. Ideally, if you guys can get offense up or defense down on the enemies, that's really where Black Bolt shines with his damage. So unfortunately, our Ebony Maw is looking weak, but let's see if we can go ahead now. I'm going to slow this down. I'm going to use the special here actually on just taking a look here because their Proxima Midnight's actually 40,000. This is quite weaker. I am actually going to go ahead and activate Black Bolt special here. So you can see him flying in. Really, really badass, just applying a strike there. And unfortunately, it does look like Thanos is going to wipe out our Ebony Maw. But you can see that thanks to how powerful my Black Bolt is, he was actually able to one-shot the Proxima Midnight. So not looking great right now just due to the fact that our Black Bolt is a little bit weaker. So what I would want to do is, this is the reason why I kept my Sinister Ultimate alive here, because I'm actually going to activate Ebony Maw's ability here once we cloned him, essentially, right? So I do also see that because Call of Satan is weaker now, I am actually going to go ahead and try to apply him. And you can see that little burst that Black Bolt did. That's Black Bolt's passive, right? Whenever they get below that threshold, that's another beautiful thing about Black Bolt's passive is activating that extra strike whenever they reach that threshold. So the Black Order is still a very powerful team, even with my team being slightly stronger. You can see the synergy here, but so as long as we can keep our Black Bolt alive, we should still have the significant offensive output. So beautiful timing. I'm going to actually slow this down now and activate his ultimate here. And this is just one of the most beautiful ultimates ever because it's literally raw damage using his Sonic Scream there and absolutely amazing damage. So wiping out Call of Satan, you can see did quite a bit as well to Corvus Glaive, and we do actually want to focus on Ebony Maw as well as Corvus, just so that way taking them down, they won't have regeneration. I really don't consider Thanos to be a threat once we start taking down the other targets. So you can see there that unfortunately the passive didn't take him out, but you can see every time he gets below that threshold, Black Bolt does go ahead and use his passive, though. That's a beautiful ability. So now it's 5 against 2. Our guys are still a little weak. Unfortunately, our Black Bolt went down. This Thanos is just really super juicy. Unfortunately, almost 120k. So that's that's unfortunately the shame here. But we do have our Phoenix here. I do have a pretty powerful Phoenix as well. So you bet we're gonna lean on her. But that's why I love having two powerful characters in my team, Phoenix and Black Bolt being offensive juggernauts, and that's really what's keeping me up in this this arena bracket. So I'm gonna use her ultimate here with the defense down. Should be able to almost take out Thanos. We had Black Bolt. You bet Black Bolt's passive would have finished him off. So there you guys have it. That's the gameplay there, just showcasing Black Bolt's abilities. But that's how I utilize him, because when you're up against teams, especially like I mentioned before, Anti-Venom and Minerva having that revive, I'm not even concerned at all, just because Black Bolt is able to finish them off. With that being said, with respect to the event, you guys, I'm going to post there real quick. I love Casino's channel because he does actually show the minimum rankings here in terms of what's been able to achieve Black Bolt in the past year. So hopefully this reference here in this image can actually give you guys a reference. But where do I think Black Bolt stands in the game? I am currently working on Dark Dimension 3 right now, and although you can see here he's only tier 13 for my Black Bolt, but if you can see my roster here, this is the top of my roster. The Black Bolt remains one of the most powerful characters in my roster, despite the fact that he's not even involved in Dark Dimension because of how relevant he is. You know, he's used in War, he's used in Arena, he's relevant in Blitz as a powerful team with the Inhumans. And last but not least, you can definitely use him in raids as well, just to finish off those targets and making sure they don't revive, and especially if you can give him energy supplementation. So personally, one of the best legendaries in the game, in my opinion. So wishing you guys all the best of luck. Hope you can achieve him. But this is how powerful I've leveled him up, because that's really showcasing, you know, how much he is worth investing. One of the most powerful and offensive juggernauts in the game. So really love what he brings to the table, especially the fact that he can actually take down enemies and take away their ability to revive ever again. So with that being said, you guys, hope you enjoyed this review video. Hope you guys are able to get some insight with respect to Black Bolt. And as always, I'll see you in the next one.